Lucifer looked up towards where the sky should be, only to be met by gaping darkness, occasionally illuminated by fireflies, creating a strange, somewhat night sky feeling, minus the moon, of course. For a while now, the King of Hell has been descending into these caverns below the city, so deep the sounds and quakes of the millions of demons above wasn't heard or felt. This place was called the Cold Storage. A large dome-shaped cave, size roughly a third, maybe half of the city above. A cool, moist, moldy, and most importantly, for the longest time, abandoned place where demons appeared. Of course, nowhere near the number of the city, but due to the lack of exterminations happening down here, a sizable amount had gathered regardless. Over half of them had become feral over hundreds of years, while the other half lived in small shanty towns. It was thanks to the V's that the few access tunnels to the cold storage had been expanded, turning the place from a mostly unknown to just another part of the circle. Still, it had kept its unique charm. Cold and wet wasn't common on Hell after all, and the bizarre mutations in both the dwellers as well as the nature down here was fascinating. As if the cold storage was its own mini-cycle. The lights down here came from the glow algae-filled waters, colorful fluorescent mushrooms, fireflies, the most common hellborn critter down here, and a plant simply called light bulbs. They were carnivorous plants that attracted insects with their glowing bulbs, only to then capture them in acidic pots just below them. After gentle removal of the bulbs, they would glow up through 72 hours if the plant had been well fed before cutting off. Many of the non-ferals had created an existence down here, breeding fireflies to fleet to the plants. Light was a precious resource down here, and the richest towns and villages were considered the ones with the best 24/7 lighting. Lucifer went down here out of a simple curiosity, and he found a liking to it. And the place he liked the most down here was a simple little village called Bleak Bone. The town had been constructed on a glowing lake. Bones from hellborn creatures were used as pillars to uphold the raggedy wooden platforms and buildings above the water. Bleak Bone was located at the center of the cold storage, making it a central trading hub for all shanty towns and villages nearby. Overworlders like Lucifer were relatively rare here, but luckily the natural distrustful denizens of the cold storage avoided him rather than actually treat him as an oddity. In fact, it's one of the main reasons Lucifer occasionally went down here. Nobody knew him, or at least they pretended to not know who he was. No one was bowing to him, no one was giving him attention he didn't desire. Down here he was just another tourist. Just a demon. With angelic origins, of course. His goal, however, was a dingy little pub. He had discovered this one on his third exploration of the cold storage. The pub, from the outside, looked like any other building in the town, except for a swimming Western-style door at its entrance and a single sign hanging over the entrance. A wood-carved barrel with a beer glass on top of it. Stepping over the black boards of Bleak Bone, he entered through the winging door. His eyes shifted left to right. The pub was just the bar with 2 additional tables, so a total of 14 seats. Just as black as the wood used for the rest of the town. A lonely dartboard with 4 throwing knives stuck in it hung opposite to him. and a creaky wooden door led to the place's bathroom. A door behind the bar itself led to the storage room, as well as the upper floor, which contained the sleeping quarters of the owner. Actual light bulbs gave the place a sparse glow, and a thin veil of cigarette smoke was permanently in the air, making the place seem more dingy and unfriendly than it really was. Just like the rest of the town. Inside was another demon who was lying against one of the tables. A line of drool coming out of his mouth, creating a little puddle under his chin. Wincing, grossed out, Lucifer turned to the bar. There, sitting on a small stool, head leaning against the shelf with drinks, also nodded off, sat you. Dressed in a beige tattered shirt, dark brown skirt that just barely reached your knees, and an eye patch that hung over your right eye. But this wasn't due to it being missing. It was because of the demon you were, fittingly named Accursed Eye. Inside your right eye hole were about 5 separate eyeballs squeezed together tightly, not only creating a weird kaleidoscope effect, but also causing major headaches if you saw through them too long. The upside was that your cursed sight caused others to share your pain. Your kind was often used by low-level gangs in the upper levels to torture victims without mutilating them. To prevent your sight from activating, as well as to prevent headaches, you wore your big black eye patch all the time over your mutated eye. Or more eyes. You had shoulder-long black hair, and greyish skin that was just a tinge darker than that of angels. And you were the main reason Lucifer went down here. He sat down at the bar, one hand under his chin. A little bit of spittle ran past your lips. Funny. Somehow when you did that, he didn't find it as gross. Honestly, part of him just wanted to watch you snore for a bit, but he knew if you found out, you'd kick his ass. Well, technically you were much weaker than him, but that was besides the point. As such, he reached for a small reception bell with the text, "Please wake me up," taped on it. After 2 tings, you shook awake, in the process almost biting off your tongue. "Morning," said Lucifer, while you swished your hurt tongue around your mouth. Not to be unfriendly, you raised a hand to wave. And finally, "Hey, Lucy." That's how he'd introduced himself, initially. After all, there was only one Lucifer in hell, and he didn't want the attention. Sighing, you stood up, leaning against the bar with a smile. "What brings you down here?" You knew he was a tourist, but a welcome one. Normal tourists just came to hunt ferals in the wild or to steal, seeing themselves as superior for not being thrown into the deep dark. "Hey, how have you been, say?" "How have you been, Sai?" He completely ignored your question, but you shrugged, spreading your arms. "Well, can't you tell?" The silence that followed was only interrupted by footsteps from outside, the soft splashing of water below, and the snores from the sleeping patron. But you had a soft smile on your lips. "Great, I would say." "Well, great, I would say." Chuckling darkly, you nodded. "Yeah, you're right. There are probably a lot of demons that would kill to be in my place right now." You turned around to look at your drinks. The shelf was surprisingly modern, a unique creation from VTech. It was a cold metal shelf that, when plugged in, went super cold, cooling drinks while also displaying them. Electricity inside of Bleak Bone was delivered via 4 large gasoline generators inside of the town square. They were well guarded, and touching them was a big no-no. "What would you like, Lucy?" you said without turning around. There weren't a lot of drinks you could make here. Your selection was actually quite small. Just a lot of bottles of the same booze. "I take the usual." "Green Russian, coming right up." The Green Russian, at least how you made him, was a classic drink that was extremely alcoholic, as was basically just 2 parts vodka with some green melon liquor and heavy cream. Over some crushed ice with some mint leaf as garnish. Though, knowing Lucy, no matter the drink, you liked the stuff shaken. So after you put the liquids into your metal shaker, you began to wildly flail the bottle around. Meanwhile, Lucifer couldn't help but admire your bouncing chest. Honestly, the first time he ordered shaken drinks here wasn't because of you, it was genuine preference, but your attractive body going boing boing was a nice bonus. Filling his short glass, his hand immediately took hold of it. "Good girl," he said, smiling, putting a glass to his lips and drinking. Lucy drank slowly, thinking of what to say next, while the vodka burned his throat. "So, what's happening up there? Anything interesting?" Lucifer's eyes opened. Crap, he had taken too long. Luckily, he managed not to choke. "Well," he said after putting the glass down. "My daughter's being a little entrepreneur, and she opened a hotel." "You have tourists up there?" The city is big." "Right." You crossed your arms. "Can I stay there?" You said it mostly as a joke, but almost immediately he shouted, "No!" Shocked, you took a step back. "Jeez, is it that fancy?" No, just, crap." Lucifer tapped his hand on the wood. After a moment of awkward silence, he admitted, "It's a redemption hotel." "Redemption?" Yeah, you go there, get some therapy, some lessons into how to be a good person. Some people really don't know how to behave. Change, become better, and maybe get redeemed and go to heaven. You scoffed at the idea, but kept the attached comment to yourself. Yeah, I know, it's stupid and probably doesn't work. Does this mean you don't want me redeemed? Silence. Again. This time stronger. The atmosphere having drastically changed. Do you want me to be honest?" he finally asked. "Yes." Your head tilted to the right as you thought. On one hand, you knew you'd never go to that hotel to be redeemed. On the other, you felt a little insulted that Lucy seemed to not believe in you, that you could, even if you wanted. Okay, listen, he said after finally finishing his drink. It's not what you think. Oh, what am I thinking? Lucifer forced a smile. That you think I don't believe in you, but I do. That's why I don't want you to go. He raised an eyebrow. Out of all the Sinnerborn I met in my life. You're special. You know, you don't steal, you don't kill. Well, you do occasionally beat some drunkards up, but I suppose that could be considered taking care of the pub. Therefore, not counting, you're just doing your job. You blushed, kinda glad he noticed. What I mean is, I don't want you to go to heaven, because then you'd be gone. So, just redeem yourself then. He inhaled sharply. That's right, the V's had forbidden Hellborn to enter the cold storage. As such, lying that he was one didn't work. It's, well... Confused, you tilted your head. Popping air with his lips, he looked up. Okay, you interrupted his groans. Let's assume there is zero chance for you to go to heaven. Why don't you want me to go? Why do you want me to stay? He blushed, exhaling. You took a step back. So that's how it is. You like me? Lucifer inhaled. He hated that you could read his face so well. But there was no way around it. Yes, Sia. I like you. You chuckled darkly. Placing your arms back down on the bar, you leaned forward. Little Mr. Divorcee finding love again, huh? Awkwardly, he leaned back to make some more room between the two of you. But you just boldly grabbed his tie, pulling him so close your noses almost touched. And you smiled seductively. So, now that the cat is out of the bag, what do you plan on doing? He exhaled out of his mouth. Well, see, I didn't plan on telling you so soon, so I actually don't know. You rolled your eyes, annoyed, causing a little bit of vertigo due to your right eye. And so you just rested, pressing your lips on Lucy's. Honestly, you never expected to kiss a guy named Lucy, though at this point that didn't matter. It was something. Every day you served the same 5 customers, plus occasionally him. Every day you woke up at the same time, went to the pub at the same time. Heck, the owner of this place never even went downstairs, so that wasn't really a point. He just spent his days sleeping 24/7, only once per week coming down to use the toilet and eat something. The cold storage was safe from exterminations, sure, but it wasn't safe from boredom. It's the reason so many went feral. But what was strange was when your lips touched, a strange sort of reaction occurred, like electricity was enveloping your entire body. It was painful yet pleasurable all the same. Your heart raced, unable to contain a pleased moan and hums. You breathed, and it was only when it felt as if your eyes were beginning to melt when you pulled away. Lucifer rubbed proudly over his chin. You felt exhausted, as if you just fucked for 12 hours. Your hands were shaking. This had been intense, and you haven't even used your tongue. Are you some kind of overlord, Lucy? You could say that, he said casually. And your eyes met. Wanna keep going, or are you too exhausted? You blushed, looking away. You could honestly get addicted to that feeling. Slamming a fist on the bar, you growled. Oh, we will keep going! Out of your pants, you pulled a thick black key. Keep going in my house, I mean. Lucifer was lying next to in your bed. He had really been giving it to you. Your rickety bed could not keep it together, and now you are lying on just your mattress on the floor. You were exhausted and your lower half numb, arms stiff. But Lucy too had some damage. Your fingers had dug nice and deep into his back. Plus, you actually managed to get him sweating, like a little sexy piggy. Exhaling out of your mouth, you lied there. Still as dead as you felt in this moment, you kinda wanted to keep going. This feeling was divine. No man before had ever made you feel like this before. You hummed pleased as you wiggled under your tattered blanket. Please, Lucy, tell me you enjoyed this as much as I did. Lucifer had to admit, you weren't as good as Lilith, but definitely better than Eve. A solid B. With the potential for a B+. And you weren't even a direct creation from God. Maybe that meant something special. He rolled his head to the side. Sia, I want you to live with me. We have reached the end of the video, and thank you very much for watching until this point. Please remember to like and subscribe, and comment something down below. I read every comment that you write me. But before we say goodbye, I would like to shout out all of my lovely channel members, starting with my lovely stewards. Kathy Misery, Hopeful, Mystic Jade 111, Annabelle A. Contreras, Giovanni Moriarty, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, Hella, BitBit, Melofia, and Anonymous Weep. And of course, a big thank you to all of my other channel members. You guys are awesome, and you keep me fed. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice one, and goodbye.